We'll have different remembrances.
Oh boy.
You know.
There you go. Well, we are.
So often somebody says, I remember when you did this. I never did that. I was never there. You know?
Well, I would want to say that we're visiting with Ruth and Roger Thorstenberg today, and today is Wednesday, the 11th of July in the year 2007. And my name is Chris Abercrombie. I'm on the board of the Smoky Valley Historical Association, and this is part of our continuing series of oral histories of people and their lives in the Smoky Valley and Lindsborg and at Bethany College. And Roger and Ruth both have long family histories with Bethany College, and also personally they have had long histories with the college and with the Messiah Festival in particular. Let's start out with Ruth. When did the Wallen family come to the Smoky Valley or come to Bethany? Do you know about what date?
Well, my dad came here to college in, I think, 1901.
1901, okay.
And he was here through his college days, from 1 through graduated in 5. We found out the other day. He got a certificate of graduation in Oregon in 1903, and then he got his piano degree in 1905. In 1903, his organ work was under Dr. Brossi.
Oh.
And in 1905, his piano work was under Samuel Thorstenberg, which is kind of a coincidence,
Which
too.
is Roger's grandfather, right?
No.
No?
No, he would have been a cousin of
okay.
my grandfather.
But still in the family, okay?
was in the family.
It's in the same
Sure.
family.
And was Torsain around at that time?
Oh, yes. He I don't know when he came, before 1900, I'm sure.
Sure.
And so
And-
he was here at the time, too.
So ultimately, your father, Arvid Wallen, ended up being hired by Bethany College.
After he graduated, he went to Chicago Musical College for graduate work and was up there until 1909, and then he was hired to come back here to teach in the college.
And when did he become the principal organist for the Messiah Festival then? Almost immediately?
About 1923 or 4,
Okay,
somewhere
all right.
in there.
So well into the Brossi years.
Yeah.
I think Brossi started in 1915 as the conductor or something like that. Okay.
So.
And how about your mother? What is her background?
And she came from Chicago. Her name was Rancine, and her father was a Lutheran pastor in Chicago. And when my dad was in Chicago studying, he became organist in his churches there. He had 2 churches, Nebel Church and the Gethsemane Church in Chicago. And my dad was organist there, and that's how he met my mother.
Oh, well, okay.
So, but they weren't married until 1912.
So they were married after they got to Lindsborg then?
After he came
Yeah.
back to Lindsborg
And
and
she-
taught here for 3 years. She taught school in Chicago, taught 5th grade, 60 kids in the class.
Oh, my.
I think she said there were 5 rows of kids, 12 in each row.
I think that's 3 times the standard today.
It is.
That would be hard to deal
Yeah.
with.
And,
Although they were able
from
to,
all nationalities too.
they were able to pass out discipline
Yes,
a lot more so than they can today.
that's right.
Yeah. So I'm sure that she kept things under control with an iron fist.
And it sounded like it.
Sure. Well, now you then came along when? After they were married in 1912, and then,
And then my sister was born in 1918,
okay.
and I was born in 26.
So it's the 2 of you then. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And what are some of your earliest remembrances about growing up in the Bethany College family and indeed here in Lindsborg?
Well, it's so much of it revolves around the Messiah, and my dad's involvement with accompanying the soloists, and then eventually he did all the accompaniment for all 4 soloists on their recitals that they gave during the week. And one kind of a incident that stands out in my mind, one year a bass soloist was unable to continue to sing throughout the week. I don't know if he was ill or what happened, but I believe it was Frederick Jenks that came to replace him, and he was from Chicago, and a very popular bass soloist through the years in the Messiah. He was here several times. So they knew him, and he was free. So he came in on the Midnight Flyer. My dad met him at the station. They came up to our house and rehearsed for the recital they were going to give that same evening.
Oh my.
So there were a lot of times he was on the spur of the moment called to do things. And so he hadn't practiced with the other one because he hadn't been here long enough to get the recital part done. He'd sung the Palm Sunday concert, and that was all.
So you're remembering now that probably from your earliest remembrances would be from maybe the mid-30s or so? Okay. And how important was the Swedish culture to the Lindsborg people at that time compared to what, you know, in subsequent years it has become?
Well, I really think it's become more important through the years than it was then, because at the time I was growing up, although we were proud of our Swedish heritage and all that, but they didn't ever see any reason for me or my sister to learn Swedish, the language, because they said you'll never have use for that.
Which I'm sure you regret now, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I wish I said it's my own fault. I could have done something about it in later years.
Sure.
But they use Swedish language to talk between themselves, especially if it's something we weren't supposed to know. And I think that was true in a lot of families.
Well, how about the traditional Swedish foods at Christmas time and that sort of thing, julata? Of course, you went to Messiah Church, so
had julata.
Yeah, okay.
Because I remember sleeping through a lot of julata services and waking up, and the sun would be coming up.
Sure.
But so we always had the early morning service, and I don't remember when Messiah Church changed to the midnight service. But I remember one church meeting, they had a big discussion about whether they were going to change from the early morning service into the late midnight service. And of course there were people on both sides of the fence that preferred one or the other.
Now Messiah Church is known today as the singing church. It's what
it always has.
And your father has a lot to do with that name, that
he was organist for, I think, 25 years. I think from 1923 until 48 is the year he died.
Now the candlelight service is something that survives to this day.
He started that in 1935. And yeah.
Which is held just prior to Christmas.
Right.
And it's a big event, and the church fills the church pews.
It used to.
Okay.
We even carried in chairs, put them down the center aisle and across the back, because it was just packed.
Sure.
But really, our church was the only one that was doing a service like that. Now there's so many other churches that are doing something special, and so it divides the listening audience.
Well, when you got to be, you graduated from Lindsborg High School, I assume, and so then when it got to be time for college, I'm sure there was no question about where were you going to go to college.
I grew up going to Bethany, I guess.
Sure. So it was just kind of a natural step onto campus. And I think if anybody looks at photos from the 50s and 60s and that period of time on, even up into the early 80s and whatnot of the Messiah chorus, they'll see you standing by your trusty bass.
Yeah. Well, I started out with violin.
Oh, did you? Okay.
And later on went to bass. So.
And so you participated in the Messiah
from the time I was a junior in high school.
Okay.
That's when we were. That's when we were allowed to sing. Although, it was war years. And, and they needed men, and the high school boys got to sing earlier than the high school girls.
Oh, okay. All right.
We sang as freshmen.
I think I was maybe about a junior before I could sing.
That was that really was the,
16 was supposed to be the age, but we were 14.
Well, then in this 1944 performance I mentioned earlier, you probably are up there singing in it. So,
Yeah.
okay, right,
Yes, I started in 42.
okay.
Carl Elmberg and Eldon Swenson. I don't know if there were any others, but we were sang together.
Sure. Well, Ruth, now I seem to remember you coming to pick me up for Sunday school. Is that right? Did you come to my house and pick me up? Because it was earlier, my parents had a little baby at home they had to take care of by the name of Jim, my brother. I think. And now, where did you live?
747 North 2nd,
7.
where Kenny Shugrins lived.
Okay. Okay.
My folks built that house, and we moved into it when I was 2 years old.
Okay.
So, and we lived in it the first 8 years of our marriage, so.
And the Thorstenbergs were also on North 2nd, were you not?
But not...
Not that far north.
No.
So, when did you first get to know this guy?
When we were in high school.
In high school, okay.
And we sang in a mixed quartet together,
Oh,
played in orchestra together. Yeah, our pictures over
We have a
there.
picture of that.
oh, okay.
Quartet.
All
In
right.
fact, I'll get it,
Okay.
because you know the people.
So it doesn't, yeah. And that obviously is the outside of the old high school building.
Yes.
And who are the people then?
The other two are Vivian Betcher. Her dad had the Brownies lunch downtown,
Uh-huh.
and the other one was Vern Reynolds.
Okay. Who would be what relation to Kathleen Coombs? then?
Brother.
Brother, okay. All right. It's one advantage of having grown up in
Her
this town.
younger brother.
I can associate names.
Yeah, right.
Well, now, were you two married before or after Roger was in the left and went to the service?
After.
After, okay.
But I was in twice.
Well, I was thinking about the band when you were in the.
Well,
I was in band both times.
Okay.
But the first time was in the Army. The second time in the Navy.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that in just a
Yeah.
minute. So, what do you think that, the things here in Lindsborg at this time in 2007, the Messiah Festival has kind of fallen off in attendance and there isn't as much excitement about it. A lot of the other, offerings by Bethany College don't seem to be attracting the kind of attention they once did. What do you think needs to be done to try to get the excitement back? And also our Swedish festivals, to get people to come back for those. What did you used to do that we aren't doing now?
I don't know. There's just such a change. There's such a change in what people do. And I think television's had an influence on what people come to see in person, because they can look at things on TV.
On
So
television, sure.
There's more competition, probably, than we had in the early days. And, well, the publicity was pretty strong in those days.
Sure.
And they had, even years before our time, the excursion trains that came that brought, you see those pictures of all the people that got off of that train to attend the Messiah. So,
And in recent years, there's been buses.
uh-huh.
Bus loads of people coming in from all
Yeah.
over. I know when I lived in Lincoln, Nebraska, they organized buses of people up there to come down for the Messiah Festival.
So, I don't know. I don't know what we can do except keep working at it.
Exactly. Yep.
And,
And there are some changes afoot on campus, new leadership, and we can all hope and pray that this is going to be
that's right.
what we need. Well, Roger, when did the Thorstenberg family show up here in Lindsborg in the Smoky Valley?
Well, we came here in 1941.
41. And so you were already a young man, probably high school age or almost high school age.
Started high school here.
Okay. Where did you move from?
My folks before that, for the 3 years before that, had managed the Mary Adult Children's Home north of Manhattan, like Cleveland. And before that, we lived in Smolin, and before that, on a farm by Smolin.
Okay. So you were a member probably originally of Salem, or
Salemsburg Church.
Salemsburg Church, okay.
Yeah, my folks were married there.
Sure. So once you get here now, your mother and father both worked for the college, isn't that correct? I know your mother ran the cafeteria when it was still in Old Main.
Yeah, oh yeah. And Dad was a steam fitter and in charge of student help and anything that went wrong, repairs in any building.
Sure.
There was another man too that worked that way. There were 2 of them to do it all.
Where did the family originally come from, going back in your roots, your mom and dad?
Assyria.
Assyria, okay.
Both from that area. They went to high school together.
So you're from the area then, and just
Yeah.
not necessarily directly from Lindsborg. And do you have any idea when the family arrived over here from Sweden?
No, I don't. But
how about your grandparents,
well, it
for
was
instance?
in the grandparents and I guess grandparents and great-grandparents on my mom's side.
And her maiden name was?
Her name was Nelson before.
Nelson, okay.
In fact, her grandpa lived here in Lindsborg, where who lives there now?
Turners,
Turner's.
Jack Turner.
Oh, okay, all right.
They built that house.
Sure.
Were they Larsons?
Nelson's.
Oh, they were Nelsons.
Mhm.
Okay. Hi.
Larson was her name.
Oh, yeah,
She was
okay.
she had been on a farm by Assyria originally.
That would have been your grandmother then?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then they moved to Salina. So.
And your father's family then, Thorstenberg, now, is that the original family name, or is it one of those that got changed along the way? No?
It was, as far as I know, it was
Okay.
its name.
And so you end up here, and are you interested in playing the trumpet by this time, by the time you start high school?
Yes. I started trumpet in about 34 or 5. Yeah. And I played in the Salesburg band when I was in 3rd grade.
Okay. So it was starting out pretty early then.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I was in 2nd grade.
Then you played in, when you were at Marigo, you played in Cleveland? And
Yeah, I was lucky up there. They had city bands in Randolph and Cleveland. So I was busy in the summertime playing 4 nights a week there.
did you or your parents have any
Grade
idea
school.
that the trumpet would become your life, that your livelihood?
Yes, because my mom's brother was a trumpet player.
Okay.
Before a younger brother. He graduated from here. And all the kids, my mom played piano, of course, she accompanied me all the time.
Of course, in that period of time, the trumpet was quite used instrument from the standpoint of pop music. It was one of the major instruments in the big band era.
Except it wasn't trumpet, it was cornet. Everybody still played cornet then.
Oh, really? Okay.
I did, and I didn't get a trumpet until I was in college.
So you had a cornet.
Oh, yes.
What is, just for a layman here, what is the difference between a trumpet and a cornet?
Trumpet is a little bit more brilliant. The cornet is, because of its construction, more conical. It starts smaller bore and gets about the size of a trumpet at the bell end. But a trumpet starts with a larger bore to start with. And the other construction is more circular. It's a little bit easier technically to do fancy, colorful playing than the trumpet.
Oh.
It's a more singable instrument than the trumpet. The trumpet is more a fanfare type
Sure.
instrument, and
Okay.
the cornet is more vocal.
And you, of course, for years were the trumpet soloist on the Trumpet Shall Sound, and also the Hallelujah Chorus has a trumpet solo, does it not? Or no, am I wrong there?
No.
But the Trumpet Shall Sound, anyway. And so that was with the festival. And starting, how old were you when you first started playing the trumpet solo in the Messiah?
I was a senior in high school the first time.
Okay. There aren't many seniors in high
I did
school.
play in the orchestra though from the sophomore year in high
Okay.
school.
All right.
Because see, that was war years.
Sure.
There was only one trumpet major in college at that time here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you had, just like Ruth, it was pretty well assumed you were going to go to Bethany College. There wasn't really a whole lot of discussion there, I'm sure.
No, and you couldn't afford to go anyplace else.
Right, right. Mom and Dad worked for the college, and so
We
there were some
might say one
advantages.
thing along with this. You didn't get any scholarship.
No, but at that time they started to let the faculty children a lower price, but
Tuition.
lower tuition, but I don't know what it was. But you,
I started taking lessons from Wetterstrom in high school. When I was a sophomore, I guess. But there was a rule then that if you took lessons from anyone at the college, you were not eligible to try out for a scholarship at the college, because they thought there would be favoritism, you see.
Okay.
So I didn't get a scholarship here
All right.
to go to school here. And, well, that happened to a number of people.
oh yeah,
I don't think Vern was eligible for one here, although he didn't end up
he
going here.
didn't,
But there
no.
are a lot of students the same way. If you took lessons from
Private
college,
or
lessons.
taking lessons and
you weren't eligible for a scholarship.
So forget about it, okay.
Kind of a funny twist, because
Sure.
everybody that walks in the door gets a scholarship now, you know.
Well, as you said earlier, you were in the service and in service bands twice.
Yeah.
Once in the Army
Once in the
band.
Army. I was drafted in 1950 and played in the 4th Division band in
in German.
Germany most of that time,
mhm.
in Frankfurt. And then the second time, the Navy band had an airplane crash and lost everybody in the orchestra
Oh, my.
down in South America. And so as a result of that, I auditioned for the band and was accepted there in Washington.
Well, they called you and asked you to audition.
Yeah.
Because a former Bethany student had a music store in Florida, and the solo trumpet player was in his store, and he asked him if they had filled in the places for the fellows that were killed, and he said, no, we're still looking. Why, do you know of somebody? And he said, yes, I do. And he gave him Roger's name.
Oh.
And he said, I know a fellow's always liked the Navy band and would like to play in it. And so then they called him and asked him to come.
So you were away in the Navy band then for how long?
5 years.
5 years? And you and Ruth, were you married by that time? Or
Yes.
Yes, okay. So you waited back here in Lindsborg?
No.
Oh, you went with
We lived
him?
in Washington.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
In fact, I taught school there, so
Okay.
for 4 years.
But in between times, did you always return to Bethany, Roger, and teach brass
Well,
here?
so when I got out of the Army, they held a job for me. I didn't get out until October of 52. But the trumpet teacher before that, I forget who it was. Anyway, he took over after Wetterstrom.
Cyril?
And no, Cyril replaced me while I was in Washington. But anyway, they held the job open, so I didn't get out of the Army until October in 52, so I started teaching here then. And taught from 52 to 60, and this Navy job came up then, and summer of 60. It was, well, it was July when I went in, actually, the middle of July.
So you would have played trumpet in the orchestra in Copley's first year.
Oh, yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
'Cause he
I
came
played
in-
trumpet
he
from
came
the-
in 60.
From 44,
Sure.
or 42, I guess, 43, till 49.
But because Copley's first year of conducting would have been in the
That would have been 60. wouldn't it?
1960, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They moved here in late 59.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
what a fortunate move that was.
Mhm.
And it was a spur of the moment situation. A rhymer had just died. hadn't he?
Right.
Yeah.
He
Very
died Christmas.
unexpectedly.
And Copley was almost like sitting by the phone waiting for the phone call. I mean, it was just it all happened so
Just one of
smoothly.
those things
Yeah.
that fit.
Yeah.
And that's the same way when you finished in the Navy band, or deciding whether to come back here or not. The trumpet teacher had resigned, and so they needed a trumpet teacher again.
Sure.
So then, when that Dale Lund,
Yeah.
Dale Lund came and asked
Well,
him if he
I was gone. He talked to you first.
Yeah.
Because we were on
Because
tour.
we were on
and
tour.
Maybe.
Now, you get back here in about 1965 or so, as you said.
65, yeah.
Yep. And go back to work at Bethany. And how long did you stay at Bethany then until you retired?
Well, I formally retired in 90, I guess. But then they didn't hire anybody because the pay situation is, you know what it is. You can't hire anybody for. So I stayed till 94, 4 years then, supposed to be retired. And then I had a heart attack, and so I actually did
we,
quit then for,
no, you taught the next year after your heart attack.
I did, maybe so. Yeah, I guess so. And then they did hire someone. A girl was here for, well, from 95, 6, 7, 8, 9. When did Ostrander come? Anyway, Ostrander was here for 2 years. And a marvelous musician and trombone player, but he didn't want to teach trumpet and French horn. So then I started in again in 99, it must have been, 98 or 99. And I'm still doing the same thing,
Oh, okay. Okay.
So this
just
was
part-time.
this is the end of your 42nd year.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Not 42nd continuous years, but
No.
42nd
No.
year.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I'd like to hear some little anecdotes about your families and their connections with Bethany. First of all, I think, Ruth, the most famous story about your father, and as you were indicating earlier before we started the camera, there have been some misconceptions about the day that your father he had taken over as the conductor of the Messiah from Dr. Brossi in,
That's
what,
right.
1947 possibly? And became faint while he was conducting.
right.
And Brossi rose and came out of the audience and
My
conducted.
mother signaled to Dr. Brossi to come up, and
She was in the chorus, right?
She was in
Yes.
the chorus.
Uh-huh.
And one of the stories that we heard afterwards, that a nurse had come up to take care of my dad when he was weak. Well, it wasn't a nurse, it was my mother in her white dress.
Oh, okay, all right.
But anyway, it took a little time to get things organized, and then my dad, they got a chair, and he sat down in front of the podium, or back of the podium, I guess you'd say, right in the orchestra, in other words. And he sat there, and Dr. Brossi conducted, and then my dad, well, Dr. Brossi wasn't terribly well or terribly strong, and that worried my dad that this was too much for him, so they just traded off
Oh,
till the
wow.
end of the maybe they would do two and then sit down and the next one and do two. I can't remember exactly, but it was a trade-off from one to the other.
The story I like about that, maybe you can confirm it, or maybe you didn't know at the time, is that Brossi had brought his long distance glasses to sit in the audience and see the chorus but had not brought his reading glasses.
Oh, yeah.
So he couldn't see the score.
Which
So he conducted from
He didn't
memory.
didn't really make any difference because he knew it. That was kind of a prop rather than something he really had to read.
Well, I know whenever I start discussing Messiah history with people, that's one story that always comes up. But as you
Right.
say, there are many variations on it.
That's right. That's right.
And now we know as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. Yes.
My two uncles were here from Illinois for that Messiah week, and the one was a doctor, so we had a doctor there right away too.
Oh, well.
So and he just said, you've got to rest, you've got to
Sure.
get your rest.
Was it
So-
an exceptionally hot day?
No, I think he died from cancer in 48, and I think it had started
Okay.
working on him. In fact, he'd had, even 4 years before that, he'd had surgery.
Well, I was thinking that all three of us know how uncomfortable Presser Hall
Right.
could become
Right.
with 2,000 people
I'm
in there
sure
and
that-
500 in the chorus
That was
and
an effect.
on a hot day.
Sure.
Yeah.
And if somebody's not strong anyway, that's going to bother them even more. So,
And of course, in recent years now, they've put in air conditioning,
Mm-hmm.
so it isn't near the problem that it was at one time. But
right.
I remember the ushers walking along and opening those windows and trying to get the circulation through there while trying to maintain the performance.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop the camera for just a minute. I want to look at. Well, Ruth, we talked briefly about your father and Messiah Church and the candlelight service. Any other anecdotes about your family? Maybe something your sister got involved with that would
Well,
be.
my sister was a cello player, and,
Uh-huh.
and she played in the Messiah Orchestra all the time too. And
Now, did she have a family then? And
not then.
okay, but I don't mean then,
was
but I mean
married
later.
to Leo Reynolds,
Okay.
Kathleen's older brother.
Okay.
And yes, they have a family. They had 4 children. One boy was killed in an automobile
Oh.
accident when he was 19. But one is a doctor in Richmond, Virginia, and one's retired teacher in near Seattle, Washington. And the daughter lives in Sacramento, and she has 5 children. And her oldest 2 are in the service. One of them's in their pictures are.
Oh, okay.
One's in the Navy, and one's
yeah.
in the Air Force, and one's in the Marines. And the Marine is in Iraq, so
Oh my.
they've got plenty of worries. And,
Now, where did your sister settle once she became married? Where did
well, they lived in a lot of different places.
Okay,
They lived in Texas, and they lived in Washington State, and been in California a long time now.
Sure.
Over 25 years, I suppose.
Now, Roger, with your father and mother both working with Bethany College, and students can come up with ideas and pranks, and especially having to do with the cafeterias and food, and also other maybe more destructive ideas that your father would have to become involved with. Can you remember any specifics on any incidents that happened while your parents were in charge of this portions of the institution?
No, I don't think so. My folks had a good way of getting along with the students.
Okay.
And they got to know them personally. It wasn't a card punching thing. You never speak to them.
Almost like a mom and dad.
Yeah, because they had been that way with kids before, and when we lived in Wallen, we fed all the teachers in town. They ate at our house twice a day, noon and evening supper. So my folks were used to being around people and with all those kids at the orphans home. And I think they put up with a lot in many ways. On the other hand, they knew what was going on all the time.
Sure, sure.
The interesting thing was that Eklund was chaplain for a long time. Lindquist, they would come over to and just visit the folks and ask about this student and this student and this student and so on, because they figured they saw the side of them that the faculty didn't see and the administration didn't see, but what were these kids like personally, and those war years were very tough in many ways. And before the war, which was not very long as far as we were concerned, but the students at that time had no money. I mean, this is impossible for anyone now to understand. But these students came and they didn't have bedclothes, for instance. Hahn, the coach,
Sure.
Hahn, would give them extra sweatsuits and stuff like that to wear. And they didn't have anything on their beds, maybe, so that, people would have to give them blankets or overcoats or something.
Oh, yeah.
And I can name them off, be endless, of the kids that came to school like that. There's another person you should interview, Dick Hahn, about
Oh, yes.
the way his folks handled all the athletic kids. Don't you think so? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just a different world.
Yeah, today they all have cars.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, bed sheets are something you don't even think about, or
Oh,
bed
no,
clothes.
that's just part of it.
Yeah.
But there were kids that, no, they didn't have anything on their bed.
Today they're complaining because their rooms aren't big enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When we were in school, the main one that had a car was Dwayne Hagstrand. And he had an old car and
Model A,
Model A Ford.
Ford.
Well, he probably had a lot of
A lot
friends.
of dance jobs
Yeah, we
together
were
in
dance
that
jobs
Model
and that
A.
thing all the time.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That brings up something. Today they call them garage bands, but back then you would have a band put together. Did you have a name for the band?
Oh yeah, Marvin Downey ran that band,
Okay.
but seemed like there was always a college band that was before that too, going way
I
back.
remember Donnie Weddle played in it
Mhm.
once, and he said he had no recollection. He drove from Bridgeport to Lindsborg. He had no recollection of driving back.
Uh-oh.
Because they were so tired,
Yeah. And then did you cover music that, say, the Glenn Millers of the world,
Yeah.
or Benny
Oh, yeah.
Goodmans?
The regular dance band stuff from the 40s, you see, late 30s and 40s.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, you both are products of Messiah Lutheran Church.
Mm-hmm.
And were you both confirmed by the same
Uh-oh.
pastor? There was Pastor Olson.
I was concerned by Olson, and he was by Claypool.
Claypool.
Okay. And your mothers then were church ladies,
Yeah, right.
wearing the aprons, cooking the food
Oh, yeah.
back in the kitchen.
Yeah.
That's right.
And do you have any, either one of you, recollections of church suppers? And
Well, I can remember church suppers when I was a small kid. There seemed like we had a lot, and we used to have bazaars, and they'd serve food at those bazaars, and then I suppose handmade items they would sell. Then later on, the church frowned on doing that kind of thing, so they didn't do that anymore. So.
And was it held in the basement of the church, or was it outside on the lawn, or?
I think in the basement of the church,
Okay.
but I remember one was held downtown. It almost seemed like it was at Boots Bootery, but
Oh, okay.
I'm not real positive about that.
So it was open to the public to come and buy
Anybody could.
items at the bazaar. Okay, as a fundraiser then, I'm sure, for the church. There are some things that are constants, and Bethany College and the church needing money are
Yeah.
certainly two of the constants that we see through the years. In visiting with Irma Lindquist, I discovered that the major reason Emory left here as president was because he was tired of having to go out and raise money.
Yeah.
He just wanted to be a college
It was
president,
a
you know?
right. He was-
continual thing.
Interested in the academic side entirely.
Yeah.
And and that's happened to a lot of presidents, I think. They don't realize that is the job, these small schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to do it.
And there are a few that have understood that, Arvin Hahn in particular.
Yeah.
And we have a whole new beginning now with Dr. Leonard, and whoever's watching this tape 25 or 30 years from now will know
Yeah,
what the outcome of that has been.
that's right.
Um,
It doesn't happen overnight.
do either one of you have any additional comments, anything that you'd like to tell future generations about the Smoky Valley, about Lindsborg, about the college, the church,
Well,
the
I
world in general?
don't know if I have anything particular to say except let's support our own people and our own town and our own churches. Keep them going, because without new blood all the time, then you lose out. You know, you have to have the young people start doing their part of it.
Sure. Go ahead, Roger. I'll stop the machine for a minute.
Okay.
If you were really in need of nursing care, then they can't do this from home health here anymore.
Right.
You have to, they would come from Ellsworth now.
Oh, okay.
But now I'm still.
Okay, and Roger, that we were talking about.
Let me get something.
Okay.
I made some notes.
Well, that'd be interesting too.
I'm not sure. I don't know if you would want this. I've got several contracts of my dad's from 27, and then not every year, but till 48. And I wondered if you're interested in salaries that were paid at that.
That would be very interesting.
In 27, for 36 weeks, he was guaranteed $2,000. And if also they would charge $1.20 for lessons, for a half-hour lesson at that time, and if that would mount up to more than 2,000, then he'd get a little over 2,000,
Oh, okay.
depending on how many lessons he gave. The final year that he taught was 48, and he was paid $2,400 then for his salary for the year. In 36, I thought it was interesting, he had a choice. They could guarantee him 36 weeks, $1,350 for the 36 weeks. Or he could choose to get $1.05 a lesson and take whatever that would amount to.
But he had to choose one or the other.
They would guarantee him $12.25, and then whatever was above that, they'd have to pay. And in addition, they would say, if you don't have full-time teaching load, then whatever the president asks you to do, you must be on hand to do that.
Oh,
And also, you could not teach anybody else outside the college. They had to be through the college. And if you took a student, like, and have them come to your home and gave them lessons there, then you might forfeit your contract.
really?
So
Wow.
you couldn't do anything above what
That
the
was pretty
college was
strict.
paying you. Yeah.
Although I'm sure it was probably pretty standard for the day.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
I'm sure we were saying that. That probably was true in all schools. But in 1936, he was guaranteed $1,350 if he took that. But that was the year they bought their 36 Chevy, and they paid $600 for
Oh,
that,
my.
which was half of the salary. So you kind of wonder, how did they do it? You know, they had a family and take care of.
I've heard stories of my grandfather's day, and he started teaching in the 1880s at Bethany. And they would go for months with no pay.
That's right.
Yeah.
And sometimes they would get their salary, but they would take something away from them to support the college. You know, your automatic donation to the college.
And Swenson was always big on whether you were a Republican or a Democrat
Yeah.
also. And unfortunately, my grandfather was a Democrat. So even though Swenson loved the guy and personally hired him, he still didn't care for my
Tell
grandfather's
him about
politics.
Wetterstrom.
Yeah, I asked Wetterstrom when he started to teach here, because he had gone to school here. He lived just south of town. And he said, well, I'm not sure exactly when I started to teach. He said, I started getting paid in 1904.
Yeah.
But he graduated in the late 90s and went out to the West Coast and had a job in business. He was a business major actually in college. And he had a letter then from Swenson that said, we appreciated you as a student and we need a trumpet teacher here, a brass teacher and harmony teacher too. And the Rossi and those have said that he could do that job. And he'd like to have him come back and do the job. And then the letter went on, nice compliments. Then at the bottom of the letter it says, there's one problem. We can't pay you anything, but I can get you, my sister is a postmaster, so she can get you a part-time job in the post office that
so
you
you
can
make
live
some money.
until the college can afford to pay you. And that's the way he came back to start teaching.
I have heard other similar stories.
Yeah.
But Swenson was so charismatic that he just drew people.
That's
in.
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to be paid, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Did it for the fun of it, the love of it.
Yeah.
You didn't remember Wetterstrom, I don't suppose.
No.
A real character if there was one. Boy, he said what he thought, and if you didn't like it, tough luck.
Too bad.
And he used the language too.
What's up?
You're doing this with various people. I think this would be a long project for you and an endless one and maybe not very practical and not possible. But there have been some amazing musicians come out of this little town. Willis Olson is one. He made a big mark for himself.
The Willis Olson that now lives back here again.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What was he? Instrumental or voice?
Clarinet major.
Okay.
Band director at college for years, and fine musician, fine singer.
Well, he taught in the high school here even.
Yes, he taught here
Okay.
in high school right after the war. But it's that type. But there's one guy that stands out way above anybody else, and that people don't remember his name, except us that were in school with him, and that's who's on that picture, Vern Reynolds, of where he is in the world of French horn.
Oh, okay.
This is the Horn Ball, which is the magazine of the International Horn Society. And on the page here, it always gives the world, this is of the world.
Okay.
Now, this isn't just Kansas or McPherson County. Honorary members of the International Horn Society, and I think I would 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are probably about 25 names here that are the living honorary members of that. There's another list of probably 30 names that are deceased honorary members, but of the living ones, Vern Reynolds is here. Now, this is an international society. He's known all over the world for his playing, teaching, and writing.
And
just,
nobody knows it.
and nobody knows it. Nobody knows Vern
First time I've
Reynolds.
been aware of this.
Yeah.
This one also has an interesting little blurb in it because it's a student written. This is a magazine that comes about 4 times a year. She says that she went to Eastman. That's where Vern taught for a number of years. He played in Cincinnati Symphony, the Rochester Symphony, and of course taught at Eastman for a number of years. Has written all kinds of wonderful stuff for the horn. This little blurb here, she starts by saying, my favorite one-liners, and anyway, she just has one little few words and then someone else's answer to it.
Sure.
She said, I played a passage in an etude that included a high A. This was her first lesson with Vern at Eastman. Finished the note open on B flat horn. Mr. Reynolds asked me whether I always used open B flat horn for the high A. I replied, I often use it in fast passages and 1 and 2 when it has to be in tune. This statement seemed quite sensible to me at age 18. Vern Reynolds gave me his trademark deadpan look and asked, when does it not have to be in tune?
So
Now, this is a magazine, like I say, that will go all over the world, and this will quote, and I've already used it to my students.
Sure.
You know?
So he graduated from high school here then in what,
Yes.
44? 44? Okay.
And he started the college here, he went, what, 4 or
9
5?
weeks.
9 weeks, and then was drafted. Went into the Navy, and came out and went into the Cincinnati Conservatory.
My
And
goodness.
As his first year there, he was hired to play assistant first horn in the Cincinnati Symphony.
Maybe the fact that he isn't a Bethany alum is why we haven't heard about him.
Yeah, but,
Yeah, that's part of it.
and he was so terribly quiet.
He's not one that's gonna
No, he
say,
doesn't-
I did this.
No, he would never tell
Never
anybody.
hear from
See, you were building up to one of the greatest musicians ever out of this area.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you what the name I was thinking of was Thane Toll.
Well, he was a good
Yes,
musician.
as a teacher and on that level, but I'm speaking, I mean, Thane was important here. He was made a good name for himself in Wichita, a good
And in Dallas.
publicity man for his territory, you know, at the time, and himself. And the same way in Dallas, yeah, he was very well thought of, but not at this level.
Right.
No, he
Right.
wasn't
I mean,
that
this
caliber.
is this is another level entirely. Anybody you'll talk to, and I don't know if you remember Ostrander that came here to teach, the trombone player, was the band director here for 2 years, I guess. He's at Wisconsin University now and also plays in the Minnesota Symphony. But anyway, when he first came here, I said, because I knew he was from Eastman, I said, well, did you get acquainted with Vern Reynolds? And he said, I sure did. I said, oh. I said, how do you mean? Oh, he said, I played in the student quintet, brass quintet, and he said they assigned Vern as the instructor for that quintet. And he said, he laid us out something fierce in the first rehearsal, he said, that I will never forget. And
Well, that's
he
what it
said,
takes.
Yeah, it
Every-
does.
Everybody respected Vern Reynolds as the voice of brass at Eastman.
Well, I'm sure he
Eastman
is.
probably the, you know, Eastman, Juilliard,
Right.
Wellington Conservatory, Curtis, those are the music schools in the United States that are known all over the world.
I'm sure he has played with some of the great orchestras too, hasn't he?
Well, he played just with Cincinnati and Rochester because
Okay.
but he's played all over the world actually himself because he played in quintets and was called. He's been all over really. He was in England studying with Dennis Brain, and it has gone there as soloist, you know, for different things, and his writing for the horn. But to talk to him, you would not know that at all. This is simply, he could sit here and probably say 30 words in the time we've been talking here this afternoon.
Well, I thank you for that heads up, and that's something to pursue.
Yeah.
And occasionally in the news record they'll run a story about some young person from Lindsborg who has made it big doing this or that or the other thing, and in New York or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's a name I hadn't heard.
Yeah.
And I guess because of the years, and again, he wasn't a Bethany graduate. So.
Yeah.
Well, Ruth and Roger, I want to thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
It's been a very enjoyable visit.
We've enjoyed being with you.
And some historian a number of years from now will very much appreciate this information.
I know we'll think of things that we should have told you.
Oh,
but
I know, it always happens.
Yeah.
If you think of something really major, call me and I'll come
Yeah,
back.
okay. Well, I'm only going to mention Vern's brother Leo was quite a fine violinist. He and Willis Olson were, well, they weren't classmates, but I think Leo's a year older than Willis. But anyway, they're together all the time. But Leo has established a Suzuki program in Modesto, California that has been very successful. And, he just retired a few years ago, and so no longer
But
does
he's
that. But
80, what is he, 85, 86? Gene is 80?
he's 87.
Okay.
So,
Yes. Well, thank you again for your time.
yeah, you're welcome.
And
Thank you for including us.
You are welcome. It wouldn't be complete without you.
Okay.